Hey doing everyone, it's Joe here from Living to Learn. I'm actually pretty excited to be finally getting a chance to sit down and make this video, because it's not often I discover something new on the markets that I get to own. There's new stuff happening on the markets all the time, but luckily enough I had a chance to own this, and especially a neck knife. Everybody who meets me knows I'm not a big personal fan of neck knives. Not saying they're without a place, but just for personal reasons, from injuries of old, I find it very hard to grip the kind of smaller handled neck knives, and plus what I do in the woods per se doesn't really warrant or justify a small blade. So I was pretty excited when I found this one here that you see in front of me, like, and it's only kind of new to the market, so I wanted to get my hands on one, and I did, and I took it away to Sweden with me. Normally I don't rush through testing and stuff like that. Any knife that I've ever had or wanted to review and stuff, like all people and reviewers or testers of products should do, is put them through their paces over an extended period of time. But I was lucky enough to get this one just in time for a trip away to Scandinavia, where I hiked the Bohuslän through the boreal forests of Sweden and into Norway a little bit there. And not only that, but there was 2 other people on the trip, and I asked them when the trip started if they would mind using this for regular camp duties. Those guys carry Moras, they're not custom knife carriers, and that suits them fine, but I asked them to kind of give their own Moras a break and see what they could do with this, just so I can give some feedback to the maker. And the maker is Steve Armstrong from Field and Steel, and also from Retro Outdoor Equipment, a fantastic Facebook page. So you can see here she's been well loved on. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't go easy on my blades. Only after kind of an initial break-in period, and I know that it can do what it can do, well then I'll start to treat it with the love and care that they should so duly deserve. But I need to know when I first buy a product, any product, that it will do what it needs to do, and perhaps go a little bit beyond what its engineered design purposes were. So I'll just take it out here. So here you have it. Now you heard at the start of the video that I'm not a huge fan of neck knives because of past mistakes, but this one caught my eye because, unlike most neck knives, it has a really full grip, probably one of the fullest grips I've seen on a knife this size, and it grips into the hand really well. It's got that bush type blade that Steve himself is in the woods more than the average person, and he likes a smaller blade, so it's cool to see. This finish here is one Steve does where it quenches it, and most makers would kind of sand this off or sand this finish off, but he leaves it on and kind of makes it part of the aesthetics, which I think is an absolutely lovely touch, and kind of makes each blade that little bit unique. But it's got a full grip, and it's a full tang, and it's just shy of 3mm thick on the spine. It's a nice chunk of steel. And the one thing I liked about this is, instead of being the usual spear point blade or dagger style blade that most neck knives come in, it was a sheep's foot, or you could call it a narrow Warncliffe design, but sheep's foot is what I would call it, which makes it great for EDC purposes, opening boxes and, you know, getting really up here underneath the blade. It's got a Scandi grind. I have my ruler here. Sadly, dimensions are going to have to be in centimeters, but it's got a just shy of, you say, 6cm cutting surface, with an overall blade length of just shy of 7cm. Handle is just over 10cm, and to be able to show you, I can measure my hand for you here just so you can have some reference. My hand is 8, so you can see it fits perfect. That swell is just gorgeous. You might notice the bow drill divot here on this side. This doesn't come as standard on them, but thanks to Shane Phelan from Eagle Ridge, he's kind of, bar the fact of showing me how to master bow drills, well, I say master, but you know, I know my way around the bow drill. He also convinced me that having these on a knife that's predominantly going to be used for fire processing and stuff like that isn't a bad one. This is denim micarta with white liners, and the micarta, I have to say, held up really well under an awful lot of bow drills, because I was teaching my brother-in-law and my friend the rudimentary basics of it. And as you know, when you're starting out with bow drills, you got an awful lot of attempts before you get a coal. And I have a small review that I done just before I left, where you can see me using this divot on the Retro Outdoor Equipment page, and it holds up just fine. Because normally when you're using stuff, say like this bone handled guy up here, which Jeremy Carlson kind of made for me, it's a kind of a 1-shot, 2-shot dealio before this handle becomes really warm and you can feel the transfer of heat into your hands. But this held up just fine. And the attention to detail that Steve puts into it is very clever. This piece of leather here is removable, as you can see from these screws, and it allows you to remove it and turn this into a neck knife. It is a robust blade and a heavy blade, but one thing I will say is that you will know it's around your neck, but it isn't too heavy. It wouldn't be a light carry. Again, it's no C or KT minimalist. It's meant to be kind of a multi-carry option blade, but it can be worn as a neck knife. It has holes punctured around here, and there's some drainage holes in here for water. This is in Holstex, which the retention on it is massive. I ain't normally a fan of Kydex, but for this knife it works fine. You can see here from being taken in and out of the sheet and loved on that she's scratched up. I've let it fall and it's been scuffed around on the ground and dragged out of my bag. But I like it. I like that. It's got an unbelievably sharp 90-degree spine, which is fantastic for shaving bark, and I have pictures on the Living to Learn community of this out doing its task. It feathers like a champ. But also I really found that it's good around the home for doing a bit of pruning in the garden and stuff like that, especially with that retention, and it's in appendix carry. People carry their knives in all sorts of different ways and stuff. I ain't a fan of scout carry, and I'm not a fan of carrying knives around my neck either, but I have to say the appendix carry has grown on me. It takes a little bit of getting used to it, and I'll say that, but it's not too bad. You can see here now from being dragged through brush and putting in out of bags and all that, but I like that. It's only breaking in. But a really cool feature about this, especially with the bow drill divot in this side of it, is Steve has contoured the Kydex so you can grip it. It's got finger grips on it. You can see here if you were left-handed or right-handed, and it allows for really good purchase and a good amount of downward pressure to be placed on the blade without having to put your entire hand over it and say hit the spindles and stuff like that. Same working this way. I can come down on it, you can get your bow drill up. The edge on it was fantastic. It had arrived shaving sharp from Steve and held an edge in the forest really well. And it only needed a few light strops the odd evening to keep her at that hair popping sharp. There's the tip. A closer look at the spine. The plunge lines. And a good knife, I have to say. It's kind of sold me. This is about as close to a necker as I would get. This is kind of the size. I wouldn't like to go any smaller than this. And this does an awful lot of jobs fine. It has now become a nice day hike blade for me. My son finds it really easy to use. He's learning how to use different types of blades at the moment. It's a really nice knife. Steve has made a couple of these, and there are a couple of them floating around on the market, but he's fairly new to the form. He's available at Field and Steel should you want to order one, but if not, it's nice just to look at a nice knife. And I have to say I'm really happy that I finally got a knife of this size that I like to work with. It's a really enjoyable blade. So just a quick look and a quick overview. If you fancy talking or asking any more questions about this blade, I'll be available on the Living to Learn community. Steve is also a member there. Should you have any questions, any more in-depth questions? It is a lovely little blade. So there you go, guys. Joe from Living to Learn, out.